All right, you guys, we are back. In the previous video, we did the top 6 signs that you may be an intercessor. And if you resonated in that previous video with at least 3 or more of those traits, more than likely that is who you are. So if that video was for you, I can guarantee you almost certainly that this likewise will be for you as well. So without further ado, we are going to get into the downfalls of an intercessor. This is the top 6 downfalls of an intercessor. Okay. The first downfall of an intercessor would be physically returning. As an intercessor, you will feel the need to physically return to environments or individuals that you feel a strong connection with. Those may be the individuals that come to your mind randomly or at opportune or inopportune times. Excuse me. Those may be those individuals. So you may physically return or give your energy to those environments or those individuals. And more than likely, it's because you're an intercessor. So you have a strong tie or connection to that individual or that environment. Okay. The second downfall of an intercessor will be mental bondage. You will feel like you can't fully escape your thoughts when it comes to that person or that place. Like, you may feel like you can for a while, but it's like it just comes back. It just resurfaces. It comes on its own. You will feel as if you can't sever the tie because it's just that strong. Okay. Third downfall of an intercessor is what I call human vows. And so when I say human vows, you stand on what you said to someone. So with an intercessor, as an intercessor, you can form emotional bonds. And you form those emotional bonds by saying, and an example of that would be like by saying something like, I will never leave you. Let's say you're dealing with a person who has went through a lot of heartbreak or a lot of abuse, or they say, oh, I've always had people leave out my life. No one has just been consistent with me. And you connect yourself to that bond. That's what you call a trauma bond, but that's a video for another day. You connect yourself to that bond. And so when it comes to those human vows, you're standing on what you put your emotions into with that individual. And as an intercessor, you hold true to that. You hold tight to that because emotions are, they're intertwining, they're mixing. Excuse me. They're intertwining and they're mixing. So you're making these vows to this human. I will never do this. I will always be there. I will never leave you. I would never do what you just, whatever you put into that, whatever your would never would be towards that individual or environment. Okay. The fourth downfall of an intercessor is inability to release. Inability to release. That goes back to even an intercessor standing on divine instruction, or returning physically to something or someone, because that tie is so strong in you, you can't, you feel you can't release it. No, my spirit just corrected me. You feel you're not supposed to release it. That's what that is. That's what that is. You feel you're not supposed to release it, right? Why else would the feeling be that strong? That's normally the mindset of an intercessor. They try to make sense of things, and if an intercessor can't make sense of it, they will stay in that same place no matter what it is, mentally, physically, emotionally, because they can't understand it. So they won't move at all because they don't understand what is the point of moving. This has to be strong for a reason. Let me stay here. Let me figure this out. Okay. Number 5. The fifth downfall of an intercessor are bruised hands. An intercessor is naturally a healer. But the downfall of an intercessor that is a healing intercessor could be that they're holding the rope too tight and they're getting burns on the inside of their hand, which all boils down to the inability to release. Okay. Last but not least, the sixth downfall of an intercessor would be confusion, which goes back to what I was initially saying with the inability to release. The intercessor is not registering, it's not making sense. You know, an intercessor will kind of need logic, like, okay, 2 + 2 is 4. Okay, I could add that up on my fingers. Yeah, I agree with that. That's right. But if it kind of goes against logic, it causes confusion, right? And so with confusion, nobody really moves. You know, an intercessor won't really move because an intercessor, you don't want to make the wrong decision. So you're trying to make everything make sense. And intercessor, that's a downfall of you if this is resonating with you, right? You being an intercessor does not mean physically return to environments, things, or people. It means that an intercessor, mainly the main way an intercessor is intercedes is through prayer. That is your main role, is to intercede through prayer, not to force, not to make happen, not to bring things to fruition. That's not your role. Your role is to intercede through prayer and then allow God to make the rest happen. So if you are confused intercessor, you're taking on more than what you're supposed to in your role, which will then cloud your mind, which will then cloud your heart, which will then cloud your judgment. And then that intercessor is not even interceding in the way they're supposed to. So you're moving out of order, out of alignment. And so things won't fit. The puzzle piece not fitting. You ever had a puzzle piece that looked like it can fit in a spot, but you knew that wasn't the spot for it, but if you turned it a certain way it would fit, but it just wouldn't fit right, like perfectly. That's how an intercessor know when they're out of alignment. So I just want to end this with a verse, okay? And the verse is 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 16. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. The enemy is actually the author of confusion. Intercessor, if you are confused, you must reevaluate yourself. You must reevaluate your morals. Check yourself. Is your engine light on? If your engine light is on and you're not functioning in the fullness of yourself, you need to tap into those codes and see what's popping up so you can fix it and get back in alignment. So if this video is for you, like, comment, and subscribe, because I would really like to hear from you guys. I love feedback and I love communicating with you all as well. If you know someone that this video is for, send it to them, share it with them, send them the link. You know, each one teach one. We all should be helping each other and feeding each other and edifying the next person and building the next person up. We don't need anyone's gifts becoming clouded. That's what we're for. Intercede for one another. I love you guys.